Well, there's no easing in global trade tensions given tariffs and uncertain allegiances, presenting Southeast Asia, with both challenges and opportunities. Singapore, as a global trade and financial hub, is adapting by doubling down on business as a port and logistics hub. Roland Lim caught up with Simon Tay. He's chairman of the Singapore Institute of International Affairs, an independent think tank on the sidelines of Singapore's Maritime Week. Roland asked him how he saw the economic and security outlook for Southeast Asia.
I think in terms of the geopolitics and geoeconomics, Southeast Asia has potentially the silver lining of the storm cloud. That as people are trying to figure out what else to do besides China, they will come to Southeast Asia. But then with Trump's pressure on everybody, not just China, this could splinter. This could be also tariff increases against Vietnam, which has a strong surplus, Indonesia, which has a strong surplus. Now, Singapore doesn't. We're actually a trade deficit country of America. But we will nevertheless, as part of ASEAN, be ripple effects. So the uncertainty, I think, is creating literally choppy waters. And you can see this also in the maritime sector.
Given this fragmented world that you are envisaging, how then would regional agreements like the ASEAN Trade and Goods Agreement help ASEAN economies mitigate these global challenges? I
think Plan A for Asia and ASEAN must always be global, and that includes America and Europe. But Plan B can be really our region. The regional comprehensive economic partnership links all the major economies, and if that can also partner the EU, that's not a bad Plan B. I mean, I prefer Plan A, that's why we call it Plan A. But if globalization starts to fail, our region is growing, we should be confident enough not to be too worried.
Okay. And then given the shifting alliances and the protectionist policies that are in place, how do you see the role of ASEAN and other regional blocs play in ensuring this rules-based global trading system continues?
I think it's critical to uphold the rules when we are dealing with each other. I mean, if Indonesia or India starts behaving like a mini Trump, that's bad news. I think regarding the US at this point in time, we can't hold them down. It's like Lilliputians trying to hold Gulliver down with little strands of thread. But we can hope this moment will pass. America has been a very reliable partner in the past. It has changed quite fundamentally, but it may not always be as acerbic and assertive as Trump has been in these past months. So there's a lot that ASEAN can do amongst ourselves and our key partners in Asia and Europe.
Okay. Talking about Trump, trade tensions escalating, tariff restrictions being imposed by the US. What do you think is the immediate risk then for ASEAN economies?
Well, I think growth overall may be dented. The American market might go down. There could be a flow of money elsewhere, and we might not be prepared for that flow. I want to just talk a little bit about the effects also on the maritime sector. I think this tariff and FTAs, free trade agreements, are not just on paper. It literally plays out at sea because 80% of the world's trade is carried by sea. And these tariffs are splintering up a lot of the normal trade routes, and shipping industry, carriers and ports will have to shift quite adroitly. There's been pressure from the wars at sea, around the war areas like in the Ukraine and Middle East. And this will be another issue that we need to really tackle.
Securities of the seas as well. The Houthis are still targeting transshipment routes around the Red Sea. This is not going to lighten up anytime soon, even though the US have taken action against the Houthis.
In fact, it could make it worse, because as people are pressured in a perhaps Trump-led deal, which isn't in favor of the Houthis and their backers, they'll find expression elsewhere. And ships at sea are quite vulnerable to open attack. And so that's one issue. If other issues around the globe pick up, I think the shipping industry, maritime sector will be under a lot of pressure. There are already cost pressures because these reroutings cost more time, and there are also future-looking questions of resilience. You know, if there's a pandemic or an emergency, or the needs of sustainability. I think all these really put a lot of pressure on trade in a very practical way.